Hi, YouTubers. Good evening. It's me. I'm sitting out here with my parents, and we're going to discuss with them. I'm going to discuss with them what it was like growing up. What did they think about me? Alrighty. I'm going to turn it over to Mom.
Where do you want me to begin?
Um, when I was born, what did I do?
When you were born, you were perfectly formed. Everything was as it should be. You were a beautiful baby. We thought everything was fine, and we brought you home and did the usual things with the newborn. And I don't think it was till later on in the next few months. I know it's little things, but I didn't realize what they were. Like sometimes I would pick you up to carry you somewhere, and your body would just tense up, and I could feel it. You're tensing up, and then you would just relax after a while. And I often wondered what that was about, but I didn't know what it was. And I didn't, I just kind of left it alone. So I thought, well, maybe she's afraid. That she's going to fall, or I just didn't know why your body would tense up. But I just remember your brother never did that, and that's something you did when you were younger.
So you thought that was strange.
I thought it was strange, but as I said, you were a baby, so I said, well, everything else seems to be normal, so
Okay. When I got to be 1, 2, and 3, I remember you used to tell me I used to scream a lot.
yes, you did. I think when you become frustrated, that was probably what it was. At the time, I didn't realize that, but just out of the blue, you would just let out this blood-curdling scream, and we would turn around like, "What, Kimberly? What?" And you would just look at us. You wouldn't respond as far as talking. You would just look at us. So I would talk to you and try to get you to respond, but you just looked at us. And I said, "Kimberly, are you all right? What's the matter?" And you just looked at us. And I remember one specific time. This was as you got older. Um, we were visiting in Arizona, and we wanted to see this.
I was 11 or 12 at the time, I believe.
Okay, this site, and it was someplace we wanted to see, but you didn't particularly want to see it because you wanted to stay in the pool at the hotel. And I remember I said, "Well, we're going anyway." We were in the museum walking around, and you became stubborn and obstinate, and just were saying those smart things, and I just swatted you on the behind once, and you let out a scream. And of course, everybody's turning around to look at us, and so we couldn't stop. I would say, "Kimberly, stop," and you just kept on screaming. So your dad and your brother picked you up, literally picked you up, and carried you out to the car. And you were fighting with them, and they got you in the car, and we all just climbed in the car and drove off. Now, if that happened at this time, I'm sure they would say it was child abuse. But
911 child abuse.
but we could not get you to stop. So we were all very embarrassed, and we just got in the car and left. And it was so quiet in the car because everyone was so embarrassed that you had done this to us.
Denny, I think, hated me that day. He didn't want to talk to me the whole
So
day.
that cut short our little visit. But we'd be driving in the car when you were younger, and you would just let out this scream, and we'd be like, everything is quiet in the car, and all of a sudden you would just let out a scream. And we knew this wasn't right, but we didn't know what to do with it. So we uh, got you in a facility called Children's Psych because the doctors didn't know what
And I
problem
was in
was
children's
either.
psych prior to the age of 12. They
Yes,
didn't know.
you were. It was pre-kindergarten.
Through
So
third grade, I
they were
remember.
said you would just kind of do your own thing. You would not do with the group. You would just kind of wander off. We didn't talk. And many times you were in what they call the quiet room because you didn't do what the teacher asked you to do. So many times when we, come to pick you up, you would be in the quiet
No,
room.
that part I don't remember.
And they didn't know what it was. First, they said it was autism. And then at the age of 4, when
Well,
you
you said I was
started,
mildly retarded after that.
yeah, they said you're retarded. They were just guessing because we didn't know too much about autism at that time. But then when all of a sudden at the age of 4, I don't know when it happened or how it happened, but you just started talking and I mean, things that we had trying to get you to respond to, you were responding and you were talking very well.
Well, I remember you would tell me when I was little that I would almost say a few sentences. Was this before I was 4?
Yes, you would say a sentence or two every so often, like it's going to rain, or is it raining outside? And it would just be out of the blue. You might say a sentence, and we would like try to get you to talk more, but you wouldn't. You would just look at us. And so when you start talking at age 4, because you were still going to, I think it's still children's psych or someplace like that, you just start talking. And so then they said, well, maybe it's not autism. We don't know what it is. So when you started talking, you never stopped. You were still talking. You loved to talk.
Remember, you used to say, Kimberly, you just run your mouth.
You just you like to talk. But as I said, for 4 years, you didn't. So once you got your opportunity and you started talking, you took off. But as I said, we did in school. You had problems. You had issues. It was just a continuous thing. Us trying to find out what's going on, taking you to different doctors. Not until you were you said 34.
That's when I got
and we
diagnosed.
had you tested by a psychologist. And they ran all kind of tests on you, and the diagnosis was autism, the spectrum. And that's when we had something on paper that we knew, and they gave us the results and how you reacted and so forth. And you had very low self-esteem. But you were not what we would say retarded. You were slow in some things.
Didn't your friends even say that to you? I think your daughter's slow.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, one of them I think suggested I needed to date their son Freddie, who was mildly retarded.
Right. And so as I said, your dad can talk about your schooling, because they set you in these special classes. A lot of the kids had a lot of problems, but your abilities, you weren't allowed to show your abilities because they kept giving you this baby work, is what you call it.
It was baby work. In 7th grade, 4 plus 4 is 8.
And every day you went through this and you said, Mom, Dad, I can do more than this. I don't like this class. I hate this class.
Okay, we're gonna, here's Dad. Dad?
Okay. Yes, well, I can comment on your scholastic work. Basically, you went along with children's psych until about the 11th grade, or about 16, and you had told us that you could do better than that. And so what we did was we started going to the school and trying to get you out of the special ed class you were in. And of course, they didn't want to because they didn't think that you could do the work. And so finally, as a kind of a last resort, I remember telling them that everyone deserved a chance, and that included a chance to fail. And that both my wife and I are college graduates, and we would help her with things she had problems with. So they let her out, and she went out to 11th. So in 11th and 12th grade, she completed regular school. So she got out of high school with a just a regular degree. But obviously, at that point, she'd had very, very little real academic work. So for her to go forward, she required a lot of remedial work, remedial English, remedial math, and a lot of other things. And so we started there. She didn't understand why, when she was taking these courses at community college, why she was wandering, because she really wasn't on a specific degree program, but was just kind of playing catch up. And so that's what we did until she was able to go on her own. And so she did. And that's what I can comment on.
Okay. I'm gonna add a few more comments of some funny moments that I did growing up that Mom thought were funny, like when she would spank me.
Yes, Kimberly was very manipulative, and
I should have done slide down.
once I caught on to that, I started treating her a little differently, because Kimberly, as I said, from all appearances, she appeared very slow. She didn't know, but there are a lot of things Kimberly did know, and she knew that if she did certain things and said certain things, she would get some type of reaction. And when I was trying to discipline her, especially if I gave her a spanking, she would say that I had busted her butt, and it's all in pieces. I said, Kimberly, that does not make sense.
Mom, my butt broke into pieces.
And so I said, your butt can't break into pieces. But whenever I would spank her, that's what she would say. And so finally I just got to the point where I just said, well, I guess your butt's going to have to break into pieces, because I'm going to spank you.
I would just get so mad with you. Yes. I wanted to say, oh no, your butt's broken. Okay, I won't spank it anymore.
And there were just different sentences and phrases that she would say sometimes that made no sense to anybody else. But it was something that she would do. She'd say, I'm going to talk about my tooth. And we'd be like, why are you going to talk about your tooth, Kimberly? Because I want to talk about my tooth. And it made no sense. And so after a while, I just got to the point where I said, okay, well, go ahead and talk about your tooth.
I just get so mad with you. You said that too. I wanted you to say, oh no, let's not talk about your tooth. Oh, like show some,
And when I didn't respond to the way she wanted to, she would get very upset with me. And so I saw how manipulative she was, So when I would just confront her with what she had said, she would just back off or look the other way. So as I said, Kimberly was very manipulative. Very smart. But as I said, she hadn't been at a point where she could use some of the abilities the inborn abilities that she had. Now, when she was in college, it would always be, woe is me, I can't do this, I don't understand, I'll never understand, I'll never finish school, I'll never do this, and I'll never do that. We would hear this every day when she came home from class. And all we could say was, Kimberly, you can do whatever you choose to do. Now, if you want to continue whining, you won't be able to do it. But if you do and work hard, and your dad will try to help you, especially with math, you can do this. But her dad used to do the same thing. So he was in graduate school, and he would always say, well, I'm never going to make it. I'm not going to make it. This is just a waste. I don't even know why I did this, blah, blah, blah. And I had to hear him all the time. So, after a while, you try to encourage him, but after a while, just say, whatever. And he would stop talking about it. But she was exactly like her dad. And so Kimberly, as I said, through the years, Kimberly would do funny things. And we would have to laugh. And sometimes she would laugh.
It's like when I was with my friends, my best friends growing up. They told me that I would say, my mom would come by, and I'd say, we're not turning off the lights. And they were like, shh.
They were
Like,
trying
why
to
you
get
had to
her to
say
be
that?
quiet. She
Yeah,
would blurt out that they were hiding and we're not turning off the lights. So I mean,
they
Kimberly,
remember that. I don't.
she would do, as I said, strange things that everybody knew that she was different. Yeah,
Even my friends knew it. And even Tamara, even my friend admitted she, even when they were with friends and stuff, they didn't let them pick on me because they know kids can be just very mean. They knew I was different, but they didn't know, exactly.
right.
As I said in the last video, they just knew I was overly sensitive
But
and I did funny things.
you're at a
Said funny
you're at a
things.
point in your life now where you recognize that you do have some abilities, and you still go through the woe is me sometime, but it's not like it was. And I just feel that with the experiences in life that you've been through and the things that you've done, you recognize that I can do some things. You know, I'm not exactly as bad as I thought I was. And I think you recognize that now. Everybody has shortcomings, but yours happens to be autism. So you still do sometimes things that are inappropriate. Uh, I would say more so when you were younger. Now it's kind of leveled out. So you're more of the higher achieving autistic people in that you're able to take care of yourself and you can get a job and stay on it because the job you had before you were on it for 5 years. So, and that was through Voc Rehab in Indiana where we once lived. And now, as I said, I think you recognize you can do anything with a little effort and time, but I think it's just in you to complain. Woe is me. I can't get this to work. This is not going to work. This is not ever going to work.
But that's what I feel like a lot of times.
Yes.
I'm not trying to
And
get
I
attention.
don't
really
I
feel
don't
that way.
encourage that when she talks that way. I just say, Kimberly, I'm through talking with you. Now, if you want to go to your room and be obsessed with I can't do this, then it won't happen. But if you go in there and close that door, because I don't want to hear it. I really don't want to hear it. What you can't do. Because I've heard it so many times. And then you have shown me and yourself that you can. But I think because of all the setbacks and things that you had when you were younger,
I think it just kind of sticks with me. I think it's what
it's
it is.
there. But as I said, now I think you've gotten to the point where you see that you can do.
Okay. As you can see, it's getting dark now. Alrighty. Good night, YouTubers. Can get this mouse. There we go.